Hey everybody, I'm Russell. I am the editor-in-chief of Kwest Media, which is a media venture founded by people who grew out of the media organization New American Media, Pacific News Service, Youth Outlook, and The Beat Within. In 2017, Pacific News Service, then known as New American Media, announced that it was closing its doors. It was a sad day for those of us who came of age in the organization. The day we learned of Pacific News Service's closing, Kwest Media's tech editor Tom Terpel posted on Facebook, jokingly saying that the alumni of the organization should start our own media project. The response was overwhelming.
Wow, this family that I was part of is no longer in existence, but at the same time I felt like we were, because we were all connected on Facebook, which is, it's a social media, that is the media of today. And so I think we still exist, even though the organization itself folded. And we're rebuilding a platform so that we can continue telling the stories that we started telling when we were with them.
What Pacific News Service closing meant to me was the loss of a major voice for young people. When I was there, we produced a TV show with over 100 episodes, airing a lot of stuff that I had to fight with programming managers about getting on air, and wasn't things that you would normally see. And it was really at an early age in digital video. It was the start of something. It was the start of something that wasn't readily available at the time, and it taught me a lot of how to do things when there was nowhere else to really learn it from.
It was basically like the end of an era. It was a part of my personal and San Francisco Bay Area greater youth history and culture. It was a huge part of that was being lost.
My introduction to Pacific News Service came at a critical time. I was a teenager in juvenile hall, and I didn't have any idea of a future for myself. I was reckless and self-destructive and in a terrible place. And that's not to say, oh, Pacific News Service saved my life, or lives are complicated. My life changed for a lot of different reasons, but a big part of where I am today came from coming to this organization and learning to think about the world critically, having my voice validated. A teenage delinquent, a literal juvenile delinquent. They brought me in. Sandy brought me in. David and Asensio brought me in, and they were curious to hear what I thought about the world, about the system. Our managing editor, Eming Piansai, came to Pacific News Service as a high school student and went on to become an editor of the monthly magazine Youth Outlook.
Nation talking about global issues like dirty water, meth addiction, and women of war. So check it out on Yo TV.
I was a very green writer at the time. I was the editor-in-chief at my newspaper in high school, but I didn't really have a sense of what journalism was. I kind of had my own ideas, but it wasn't really rooted in anything that was real at the time. So PNS really gave me the tools, and it gave me Youth Outlook as a channel to kind of shape myself as a writer, to eventually become a videographer. I learned a lot about my limitations, and I grew a lot. It forced me to grow a lot, because I was thrown into a situation, into an environment where you have to become a journalist. You have to create. You have deadlines. You have to answer to people. You have to collaborate, and that was kind of new for me. And it really honed me, and it made me want to be a journalist. It made me want to go to journalism school.
From the start, our mission at Kwest Media was to continue the work of Pacific News Service, to amplify the voices of marginalized people, to encourage people affected by the news of the day to tell their own stories, and to approach the news with a revolutionary and contrarian spirit. We also knew we wanted to use the tools of 21st century media, podcasting, video, social media, to more effectively spread our content and reach new audiences. Reporting live from Rikers Island, New York City jail today. A lot of talk about detention, particularly detention of children at the border. To our surprise, Our podcast has become our main point of contact with our followers. It started as a Google Hangout video chat editorial meeting. We discussed the news of the day, teased each other, pitched story ideas, challenged each other, and pursued all tangents.
I feel like in gay dating app world, it's just a lot of rejection, a lot of racism, a lot of just awful experiences. And my most successful dating experiences have been meeting people in life that I already have things in common with.
Well, the biggest struggle right now for us as an organization is that we are funding this on our own. And, you know, most of us have jobs, and it's hard to balance the two between work and passion project, especially when there isn't that much funds on your own to support the project itself. None of us are really making anything off of this, but we are so invested in the mission and doing this that we're doing things out of our own pockets. And a lot of the people who are involved are doing it without pay, and that in itself is a testament to how a lot of us feel about this, that we are so determined to make this work that a lot of us, we don't mind, maybe not getting paid for our work, because we know in the end we're going to eventually hopefully get something out of this that is bigger than a paycheck. A couple years or so after I departed Pacific News Service, Kevin approached me and he was like, "Hey, I have this idea to do this project in East Oakland. Are you in?" And he was very vague about it. I didn't really know what he wanted, but it ended up he wanted to kind of mimic our work at Youth Outlook, but focus it in East Oakland with East Oakland youth. And so we had this little office space, which we also dubbed Kwest on Media, and we had a cohort of young people from East Oakland who were producing videos about East Oakland, about their lives.
And so now we were like, well, we know we can't stop the violence, but we can build peace.
He was working there with me basically up until he passed away.
Kevin Weston was a huge, huge influence on us. And his editorial style, his worldview really shaped my news brain and the way that I thought about current events. He made connections I'd never seen anyone make before.
Even the last day that I saw him, he was always very asking me about work. So, I mean, despite whatever he was going through at any time, Kevin was always very concerned about the work, always wanted to make sure work was happening, that we had stuff on lock, and that, we were still pushing through even if he was down, so that's what I think where I would like to carry on from that work. And I hope we can keep that momentum going with that kind of, with his mentality in mind.
And I know that's true for other people who are Pacific News Service Yo alumni. They would say the same thing about Kevin. And, it's very sad that he's gone, and we miss him very much. But this is a nice thing, It's sad that he's gone, but doing this in his name feels right.